Training camp is a wrap, and the Washington Commanders come out of it feeling pretty good, according to head coach Ron Rivera. That and more on today's episode of Locked On Commanders.
Your daily podcast on the Washington Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into this episode of the Locked On Commanders podcast, your daily podcast covering the Washington Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And thank you so much for making Locked On Commanders your first listen of the day every day. Don't forget that you can subscribe for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, and you can continue this conversation with me over on Subtext. You can just text me straight from your phone. Let me know what you're thinking by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders. And I'm your host of this show, David Harrison, on Twitter at DHarrison82, credential member of the media covering your Washington Commanders for CommanderCountry.com, a part of Sports Illustrated's FanNation, here with you every Monday through Friday and game day and practice day and all those things that are going on, covering the Washington Commanders for you. And as always, I appreciate your continued support for the show, especially the everydayers that are coming through on a daily basis. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. On today's episode, we're going to hear from Washington Commanders rookies Ricky Stromberg and Quan Martin. We'll do our final Sam Howell watch of training camp, and I'm going to share some practice notes from the final day of training camp with you. But first, Commanders head coach Ron Rivera spoke to us before practice and said that he feels pretty good heading into the final preseason game, despite the list of injuries that the team is dealing with currently. And let's rattle off some of these injuries that we're looking at here. Receiver Terry McLaurin, of course, with the toe injury that he suffered against the Baltimore Ravens. Defensive end Chase Young still working through his way back to come back from the stinger that he suffered against the Cleveland Browns in week 1 of the preseason. Tight end Logan Thomas dealing with his calf issue. And those are just 3 of the impact players that are dealing with issues as Washington wrap training camp on Thursdays. But there's also Dax Milne, who's dealing with a groin issue, Kendall Fuller with the knee issue, Jamin Davis, who had minor knee surgery ahead of training camp, ahead of the offseason program. Then he had an illness this week, missed a day of practice. Then he had court a couple days, also missed practice. Defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis with a calf issue as well. Charles Leno Jr. and Andrew Wiley have been getting a lot of reps off, I think mostly because of their elder status here on the offensive line, but still some starting players, contributors not getting full reps, and maybe that one is actually somewhat good news. But that's not counting the usual bumps and bruises that also come with simply playing in the NFL, right? We even saw Cody Barton, the linebacker, pull up a little bit on Thursday, but he did finish practice, looked okay, walked normal, all that stuff after practice, so not a whole lot to worry about there, it doesn't look like. But with all these names on the list, we've got cut down day coming, and of course, you've always got the question is the guy going to start on the IR? Is the guy going to start on the PUP? And if so, how is that going to impact? You know, last year we look back at Chase Young coming back from his knee surgeries, right? Both knees ended up having surgery on. And Ron Rivera kind of revealed to us middle of training camp that Chase was going to be starting the season on the PUP list. Well, if he's on the PUP, he's counts towards the roster, but there's a spot that somebody can fill because of that designation. And that, of course, would impact the count. And, you know, we're all getting ready to do our 53-man roster projections. But important to remember, these are initial 53-man rosters. No NFL team in the history of NFL teams has started the 53-man roster, started the season, rather, with one 53-man roster, and carried that same 53-man roster throughout the entire season. I promise you, I haven't even looked it up. I don't even need to cite it because there's no way any NFL team has started with a 53-man roster. From the day of the invention of the 53-man roster, zero chance that an NFL team has started with one and finished with one and gone through the entire season with the exact same 53-man roster. So initial roster coming up. None of these injuries, according to Ron Rivera, seems to have an impact. Those are his words, and I'll let you hear them from his press conference on Thursday morning.
I believe not. Where we are right now, I think all these guys are, guys that we feel really good about, and we, in terms of our preparation, getting ready for that decision. We'll be meeting on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday to discuss all that as we get ready to trim the roster.
All right, so that's kind of a down and dirty quick hit on the injury reports. Again, nothing major, it looks like, for the Washington Commanders. I think that's incredibly important when you look at getting ready for the regular season, because team after team after team, we see it time and time again. I mean, we've seen it here in Washington as well over the years, that training camp, it's really just one big hold your breath marathon. as you get through it. And we're not completely done, right? We're not completely done. We still have a preseason game to play by Washington. There's a walkthrough tomorrow, so you would think that in a walkthrough, the mitigation for injury is pretty solid. So you're probably not going to deal with a whole lot of injuries during a walkthrough practice. But that will be at Joint Base Andrews. So some airmen, and I think their families. Not sure how they're really organizing that, but there will be some airmen and some fans potentially in attendance as well. We will be out there as well, and if I can. Military bases are a little bit finicky about recording. So if I can, I will be doing an episode for you straight from Joint Base Andrews. If not, then I'll drive home and I'll do the show from my house. Either way, you will have an episode on Friday. We'll get some more interviews with some more players, potentially some coaches. We'll see what I can shake loose from the PR staff here, and we will see what we can do for you. But with all those names on the list, so there's a lot of names, right? Terry McLaurin, Chase Young, Logan Thomas. I mean, these are not small names. These are significant names. And they're not even all the names. I mean, Nick Whiteside has been dealing with an injury here and there. So there's some other guys. Obviously, Armani Rogers lost before training camp for the entire season. But despite all the names on the list, the injury list, nothing super major. Nobody looking like they're going to be out for the entire season. So this Washington Commanders defense is expecting to be top 10, maybe top 5, challenged to start becoming one of the better units in the National Football League, should start the regular season relatively healthy, right? And relative is the key word there. But this offense looking to surprise some folks. Nobody really expects a lot from them, but you got some key players here. Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, obviously the main two who are dealing with some issues, some health issues, looking like you might be able to see them back week 1. Maybe not week 1. If not week 1, maybe week 2. But really, the most important stretch, week 3, week 4. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves, guys, right? But this team should beat the Arizona Cardinals, right? I'm not hearing any objections. Nobody's arguing with me here. Like, this team should go 1-0, and then Denver even, maybe 2-0. We'll see how Russell Wilson and the Broncos get started week 1, but you should be feeling pretty good about weeks 1 and 2 as of right now. It's weeks 3 and 4, Buffalo and Philly back-to-back, that might have you a little bit worried. So you know what? If you're the Washington Commanders, you're thinking, let's get through Arizona week 1. Let's get through Denver week 2, even depending on what week 1 looks like. Then maybe you bring back Terry week 3. That's worst case. Obviously, we want to see Terry on the field as much as possible, but we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But of course, the 53-man roster decisions are coming on Tuesday. You probably won't see any of these guys that we just talked about that have got some banged up issues on the field, other than Tress Way. Like Ron Rivera said, Tress Way in his press conference, Tress will punt. He will also hold, so he will be out there. But we will have a game, of course, and Coach Rivera isolated 2 players that you will see play on Saturday that he is keeping a specific eye on. So, of course, we're going to keep an eye on them as well, and we'll finish our training camp Sam Howell watch. That's coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this episode of Locked On Commanders is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs make you look good because their stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. They fit way better than regular shorts, which are made of stiff, restricting, uncomfortable, bunching cotton, because Bird Dogs are not made of cotton. They're made of cloud knit fabric that Bird Dogs themselves invented. And that cloud knit fabric looks just like khaki, but it stretches so you get a slimmer but comfortable fit. Bird Dogs also uses anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric that keeps you cool but also keeps you dry all day long. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL or use the promo code LockedOnNFL at checkout to get a free white tech hat with your order. Again, that's birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL or the promo code LockedOnNFL at checkout to get a free white tech hat. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise. This episode of Locked On Commanders also brought to you by Game Time. Fortunately for me, I don't have to buy football tickets these days because it's my place of duty. Unfortunately for me, I also love music, but I have to buy those tickets because you can't get in on Commanders credentials to a concert, right? Surprisingly enough. Now, sometimes finding tickets to concerts that you want to go to, though, can be stressful, right? But buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful because the entire experience is supposed to be fun. So the ticket buying process is part of that experience. It should be fun too, right? Well, Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all your sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you're about to have. With Game Time, you can get flash deals and last-minute tickets, and they make it easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area with great images of seat views so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. For those of us who don't plan things months in advance, not to worry, Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, and Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. In fact, if you find tickets in the same section, same row for the same event, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticket app in the country for a reason, so snag the tickets without the stress at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Commanders first listen or view today and every day and every day. Thanks again for coming through on a consistent basis like you do. And thanks for all the interactions from my subtexters texting me during press conferences, during practice. It's been a lot of fun getting to know Commanders fans. If you want to get in on that action, just head over to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders. And if you do it now, you'll get free all the way up to the beginning of the NFL season. Perfect time. And we can text all during the build-up to the Arizona Cardinals game and during the Cardinals game while I'll be sitting in FedEx Field, giving you your own inside man just right there in your handy dandy cell phone. Sam Howell watch number 21, final Sam Howell watch training camp coming up. But first, we have to take another look at rookie guard / center Ricky Stromberg and rookie defensive back Quan Martin, your second and third round draft picks for the Washington Commanders in this year's NFL draft. The Commanders are going to be watching every single player that steps onto the playing field on Saturday, right? But Coach Rivera pointed out two in the pre-practice press conference that we had with him on Thursday morning. Those two being, you can guess it, guard center Ricky Stromberg and defensive back Quan Martin. Specifically for Martin, he was drafted for his versatility. He had a solid bounce back game against the Ravens after a not so good start against the Cleveland Browns in week 1. For Stromberg, on the other hand, he was really drafted for his center ability, but has since arriving has gotten cross-trained to play guard during training camp, a position that he last played his freshman year of college in Arkansas. Well, both young men are expected to make the initial 53-man roster. It would be rather disastrous if your second, third round pick, or your second or third round pick for that matter, if one of them doesn't make your initial 53. So we expect both of them to make the initial 53-man roster, but showing that they can maintain and be versatile pieces of their respective units will give Washington more flexibility when choosing to overload or perhaps understaff their units to begin playing the regular season, right? If you got Ricky Stromberg that can play guard and center, if you feel like going with 9 offensive linemen instead of 10 or 11, you might feel a little bit more confident if you've got a guy that can play multiple positions on your offensive line. That's what Ricky Stromberg is looking to do with this cross-training. That's what he's looking to prove to the coaches on Saturday. Now, so far in the preseason as a rookie, Ricky Stromberg has played 62 snaps total in the last 2 games. 18 of those snaps came in week 1. 44 of those snaps came in week 2. Now, in week 1, those 18 snaps all came at center. And again, we hadn't seen him start cross-training at the guard position until after the Cleveland Browns game. So something within the offensive line, something within some of those struggles, those growing pains, inspired this offensive line unit and the coaching staff to say, you know what, we need to get a guy spun up to play multiple positions. So starting after the Cleveland Browns game, we start seeing Ricky Stromberg getting trained during practice to also get guard reps. Well, week 2 against the Baltimore Ravens, Stromberg gets a bump in snaps, 44 total. So going from 18 to 44, that's a big jump in snaps for one. But of those snaps, 25 of them came at center, 19 came at guard. So still mostly center, which I think you should expect in the beginning phases of cross-training the guy, right? He came in as a center, expect him to play mostly at center, but he did get those 19 guard snaps. So in his first week playing guard in the NFL, more snaps than he got in his first week playing center in the NFL. That's certainly valuable experience that he will lean forward taking with him. Now, according to Pro Football Focus, Stromberg has not done well in his 2 rookie appearances. He's got grades of 44.5 overall offensive grade, 49 run blocking grade, and 28.7 pass blocking grade. That is a terrible pass blocking grade. So I'm starting to feel like maybe I need to go back and watch all of Ricky's snaps. I think in the time period we have from the last preseason game to the first regular season game, I will make that an assignment. I will go back and watch all of Ricky Stromberg's rookie snaps and see what I can peel away from it for you. PFF says his blocking against the Ravens, this pass blocking specifically against the Ravens, was significantly worse than the Cleveland Browns, contributing to that really low pass blocking grade. Against the Cleveland Browns, Stromberg had a 59.3 pass blocking grade. Against the Ravens, 24.8. That is a huge, huge dip. So again, I'd have to go back and watch every single snap to see exactly what Stromberg didn't do versus what he did against Cleveland. I'm willing to bet that a lot of those bad pass block sets probably came at guard. It would make sense, right? So I'm going to be willing to bet that. Then against the Browns, against the Browns, Ricky Stromberg gave up no pressures, but he gave up 2 pressures against the Baltimore Ravens. So that certainly has something to do with that grade. Now, flipping over to Quan Martin, in his preseason, he's played a total of 64 snaps so far, 41 of those coming in week 1, 23 coming in week 2. So you got to flip it on its head from Ricky Stromberg. Stromberg got fewer reps in week 1, more reps in week 2. Quan getting more reps in week 1, fewer in week 2. In week 1, he played 30 of his 41 snaps in the slot. In week 2, he played 19 of his 23 snaps in the slot. So again, we've been talking about Quan, basically your slot guy. He's basically a slot guy, maybe your second slot guy on the field, versatile type of guy who would also get some free safety work. Now, he does have one snap credited at wide corner, according to PFF, but the rest of them are D-line or box alignments, which basically means he's lining up inside in what we would call the slot position, but there's no receiver opposite him. So if there's no receiver opposite of him, he's not technically covering somebody, which means he's getting a D-line or a box rep. But basically, Quan Martin is lining up inside in your secondary formation is what you can take out of that. Now, Martin graded out at a 51.4 overall grade against the Cleveland Browns, but improved to a 52.3 against the Baltimore Ravens. Not a massive jump, but a jump nonetheless. Now, where Martin did go down against Baltimore was in tackling. He dropped from an 80.4 tackling grade against Cleveland to a 21.3 tackling grade against Baltimore because of one missed tackle compared to no missed tackles the week prior and 4 tackles made. Quan only had 2 tackles made against Baltimore, and then he had the 1 missed tackle. So that's going to dip that grade a little bit. Now, Martin also had 3 stops in week 1, which if you're not familiar with PFF's terminology, a stop isn't just a tackle. A stop is a tackle that prevents a team from advancing in their schedule. So a third down tackle that prevents a fourth down conversion, or a fourth down tackle that prevents a first down conversion, or a goal to go that prevents a touchdown. You get the idea. That's what a stop is. So Martin also had 3 stops in week 1, but he had none in week 2, which certainly impacts that grade. So we'll be looking for solid play from both of them, hopefully further improvements from each of them. And we'll come back after the game, probably during our AAR episode, and we'll give an update after the Cincinnati Bengals preseason game. Now, we expect to see a lot from them. Something we don't expect to see much of is quarterback Sam Howell. And with Friday's practice being a walkthrough, today was likely the last time we got to see this dude throwing on the practice field until we get into our regular season preparation that starts next week. Now, I went ahead and charted the passes. Okay, it's the last Howell watch. So like, you know what, man? It's the last Howell watch. I got to chart these passes. And for the chart in 11 on 11s, right? In those charted passes, he went 10 for 17. But there is a huge bit of contextual value that you need to understand here. Today's practice for Sam, running the second team offense, really looked like it was more about getting those second team offensive players running through some of these reps. They're holding up the play cards, go through, get every player to their spot, get every player through their route and all this stuff. Really not concerned about whether or not Sam was throwing the ball to the right place, who he was throwing it to, the timing, all of that stuff. So huge bit of context. The second team operation was not about the quarterback. It was about the other players, the Sam Bowens, the Mitchell Tinsleys of the world, getting out there, getting to their landmarks on time. So call it a laid-back practice, not a walkthrough, not a jog-through. Call it more of a laid-back practice. But just as an example, at one point, Montez Sweat and Chase Young were on the offensive side of the field. They were on the offensive sideline. They even ran down to the end zone with the offense at one point, joined in on an offensive huddle where they had said 1, 2, 3 offense and broke the huddle, came back to the offensive side. Montez Sweat was even talking about, man, it's so much fun doing things you're not supposed to do sometimes, just having a good time. So a little bit of a laid back practice to wrap up training camp here for the Washington Commanders. It kind of tells you the tone of the day to give you some context behind the numbers. But I wanted to take the numbers down anyway. Just felt wrong to do a Howell watch all training camp, then have the last one be like, well, guys, I didn't track anything. Sorry for you. So I did that for you. But we're not going to break down pass by pass because, again, that's not really the object of the practice today. Something I did note, though, if you go back to yesterday's Howell Watch Everydayers, we talked about Sam being a little bit off with guys like Zion Bowens and Mitchell Tinsley, and kind of the context of that of, he hasn't gotten a lot of reps with these guys. They haven't run a lot of routes for him, things like that. When you come back today, and he was actually much cleaner to those types of receivers when he was firing the ball at him. So it just kind of shows you, and the value I take away from that from a Sam Howell perspective is you see one day of work with receivers he hasn't really worked with, and the depth and the timing looks off. But the next day, come back and you look much better, especially in the beginning of the practice. Now, as we got towards the end of the practice, things got a little bit looser and things got a little bit wilder. So that's to be expected. But I think we can take at least that much value, just more evidence of that auto-correcting that Sam Howell does as a quarterback. So we've taken a lot of value with our time rookie defensive back Quan Martin. He's going to be back on the show here because Ron Rivera is focused on him this weekend. We got to stay focused on him as well. And we'll also hear from rookie lineman Ricky Stromberg. That's coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we'll do that thanks to our friends over at LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you need to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. Is why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, guys, final episode of Locked On Commanders for training camp, final day of training camp. Last time I'll be standing on this beautiful platform. You can already tell the tent is gone, but the bleachers are still here. So after next time we're out here in Ashburn, this will all be gone as well. In fact, we should be back in the media room. Less scenic background for those episodes, but we will still be out here at Ashburn. Until then, let's hear from rookies. The two rookies that Ron Rivera said he's watching specifically, the two rookies that, of course, we will also be watching specifically, Quan Martin and Ricky Stromberg. All right, Quan, technical official end of training camp. So first NFL training camp in the books. How you feel about the experience overall?
I feel pretty good, man. It was a great opportunity just to be here, man, and get out here and work and compete with these guys and grind all day.
Absolutely. We talked after the Baltimore game, right? You felt like you improved from Cleveland to Baltimore. Obviously came up with the big interception. 1-point game, that could be the difference between winning or losing. So now you've had a little bit of time to reflect. How do you feel about your first two games, and what do you expect from yourself in the third game?
Just a bunch of growth, man. Just learning from my experience of being out there on the field. Try to let things slow down for me a little bit, and just be more focused and just pay attention to the little details.
So Ron Rivera said before practice on Thursday that you're one of the guys. He said multiple guys, but he specified you and Ricky Stromberg as two of the rookies that he's really keeping an eye on against Cincinnati this weekend. What do you expect to show him as he's keeping an eye on you?
Just show him why he drafted me in the second round, man, and just show the competitor I am, and I can go out on the field and do it all. So.
Now, you and Emmanuel Forbes are joining a pretty talented defense, 13th in the NFL last year in scoring defense. How do you feel you can help this unit improve as a whole?
Man, just in any way possible. Just get on the field, man, just lock in and learn in the meeting rooms, and just be able to apply it out here when I'm on the field. So just be able to help the team in any way possible.
I'm just trying to work on getting better every day. That's my mindset when I come out here. Just fix the little things. Still trying to learn. I'm learning from guys like Tyler and Wiley. Walking in right now, great. Like all the guys ahead of me. So the older guys are really great. So I'm grateful to have them.
Yeah, he specifically mentioned that he's excited to watch you on Saturday, just kind of see more from you. When you look at Saturday's game, how do you approach that?
Just approach it with a mindset to go in and play as hard as you can. Like in my mind, for games, whatever happens, the outcome's already written. So for me, I go in and just play as hard as fast as I possibly can. For the guy next to me, for myself and my team, family as well.
Saturday's game's kind of unique because a little extra spice, because a lot of those players on the field want to make that 53-man roster. Every play, like life or death in a sense. What's that add to you in a sense to know that so many meaningful plays in that game for a lot of players?
Yeah, it doesn't change for me. I'm going out there and playing hard as fast as I possibly can. Nothing like it doesn't matter the situation of the game. That's the mindset I go into the game, the way I go into a game and wanted to play it. So that's how I'm going to play the game.
What have you learned about playing in the trenches in the NFL? What's the big difference?
That everybody's good. Everybody's good. You have high school. You go from high school to college, where the competition gets better at every level. But in college to NFL, everybody's good in the NFL. So that's something I've definitely learned.
You played some guard in college, but you haven't really until this last week out here. How is that transition going? It seems like it's going well, but how quickly?
Yeah, I think I picked it up pretty good so far. I did play in college, like you said. I played my freshman year. But when I got out here, it took me a couple of days, and then I started feeling pretty natural at it. Still working on it.
Some position transition we can say are easier than others. How is easier or harder for this one when you're playing one, you have to move just one spot over, but
It's not really that hard. It just takes time and repetition. Learning the little things. I went back to the playbook, just looking at all the guard things, all my guard things I got to learn to pick up. I'm trying to combine knowing center well and knowing guard well. But it's not super hard. It just takes time to study and study the little things, the little technique things that come with each position.
Left or right, is that sure?
Then no, it doesn't really matter. I played left all my most of my time my freshman year. I played both, so feel pretty confident at both.
All right, big thank you again to rookie commanders Quan, Martin, and Ricky Stromberg. That's Quan's like 7th time on the show in the last 2 weeks. I promise you that was not orchestrated that way. But look, there's a lot of attention on the young fella. He made a big play in the game, and the head coach says he's watching him for this final game. So we got to cover what we got to cover. Coming up tomorrow, we will be back at practice with the Washington Commanders, a walkthrough at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. So we will be there. And again, if I can record from there, I will. If I cannot, I will do it from home. Either way, you'll be getting an episode on Friday. It just depends if it's Friday early afternoon or Friday early evening, depending on if I have to drive home 2 hours from Joint Base Andrews before I can record it for you. Come back for that either way. And in the meantime, send your questions, your comments in the YouTube comment section. Hit me on Twitter. Email me at lockedoncommanders@gmail.com or text me directly by going to joinsubtext.com/lockedoncommanders. As always, thank you so much for making Locked On Commanders first listen or your first view today and every day. And everydayers, greatly appreciate you for coming through on a consistent basis like you do, supporting the program. Thank you all so much for making me a part of your day, part of your football routine. Until we speak again, please be safe, be kind, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Locked On Commanders, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.